right? So we will be using this org, which is the Action Security Demo org, to demonstrate these features. The first one is that, you would see a threat center alert for this incident. And we had also triggered a notification for this because if there is a high severity incident, we trigger notification. So you would have also received that. And you can, if you have configured it with pager duty, etc., you can get paged with it. Now, the important thing is that when you click on the particular uh, threat center alert, it will have a bunch of links to help you out. And I can, kind of start with these links and provide, more clarity about what this is going to help you. So the first thing is to figure out where are you using these compromised actions, right? So there are links in there which take you to the actions in use page. So let's say if I go to this one, then this will show you where all are you using the setup Trivy-Action. Now, this is pre-populated. This has not happened after the incident. You always have this information available. You can always see what are the actions you are using, which repository, which workflow, whether you are using it with the commit SHA, whether you are using it with a tag. Now, in this case, obviously, if you were using it with a commit SHA and it was, a one which was older, then you would not be impacted. But if you were using it with a tag, you know, most of these tags were updated to point to imposter commits, and that had malicious code. So that is an important distinction. We have also seen cases where you might have pinned it to a commit SHA, but Renovate bot and Dependa bot have created PRs and upgraded it, and that has caused the workflows to run. And so that may be a scenario that may have happened. So just keep in mind that as well. So so this is the first thing, is where are you using these actions, whether you are using it with a commit SHA or a tag. Now, related to this is the next thing about the compromised actions policy. Now, we have a feature where whenever we find out that some actions are compromised, we add it to the compromised list. And if you are using this compromised action policy, it will block those workflows from running. So the workflow is not going to start. So as soon as we knew that these actions are compromised, and we have a bunch of monitoring to detect this, we added these to the compromised actions list. As of now, we are not trusting anything from Trivy. So these are still in the compromised actions list, which means that these are not usable. And we recommend that you don't use them. So in here, I can show what this looks like. So if I go under the workflow run policies and policy evaluations, you will see that, these workflows have been blocked because we have the compromised actions policy enabled. And if I click on this, you will see that the workflow simply does not start. And this is a important feature that we have, because when these incidents happen, the best case is to prevent that workflow from running. And you don't have to do anything for this as long as you have configured, as long as you have enabled the compromised actions policy, these workflows would have been blocked. And you can see which ones have been blocked under the workflow run policies and policy evaluations. Once, we are confident that these are okay to, you know, move out of the compromised action list, we will do that, and we will inform. Now, moving to the next thing, and this is about, again, trying to figure out which workflow runs have been compromised. Now, if you were using Harden-Runner, it will collect the telemetry for all the calls that are being made during that job run. And you can search for that in the org-wide baseline. And if you are using arc, you can also have an arc baseline. So in here, if I go back to our threat center alert, we have this information and we have a direct link for this. So here, it is going to this baseline for this particular IOC domain. And so if I go here, you can see that in this action security demo, it has been called. So if it has been called in your organization, you will see this. And then you will see the workflow runs. So if I click on this, it will show you what workflow runs have called that particular endpoint. And of course, these workflow runs are now assumed to be compromised. So any action, any secrets that were available to these workflows are assumed to be compromised. Now, what this will look like when you go to the insights page, you will see that, it basically shows all the outbound calls and we correlate it to the specific step. And here you can see in the first step, it is making a call to the scan.aquasecurity.org. We also do HTTPS monitoring. So you can actually see it was a post call. This is the one that is actually, exfiltrated credentials. Now, in terms of the detections, you will see couple of detections for this. One is the runner worker memory read. So we detect if any malicious code is is reading the runner worker process memory, because this is a very common technique. And you will also see an imposter commit detection if you had used the action. If you had used the Trivy binary directly, you will not see the imposter commit detection. So in here, if I go to the process events, you will see both of these here. This imposter commit, it's an imposter commit because this particular commit does not exist in the Aqua security repo. So if I was to click on this, it will take us to this commit, and you will see that it says this commit does not belong to any branch or fork. And this is the common technique where attackers create this either in a fork, most of the time in a fork. Sometimes it can be in a branch in this repo, and then they will have the malicious code here. They will update the tags to point to this commit. You can update the tag to point to this commit even if this commit is in a fork, and that's what is an imposter commit. So we have detections for imposter commit, and that would have been triggered. And of course, if you had your notifications configured with Slack and with we have webhook and S3, you will get alerts for these. And the second detection it would trigger is this runner worker memory read. Because that is what this malicious code was doing to get the secret. So you would have these detections, and um, right. So you can find which workflows are impacted by the baseline. And then these detections that are triggered, you can also see them all in one place. So in here, in the MI impacted section, there is the first one is for the imposter commit. So if I go here, you will see all these detections in one place. You will see, which workflow runs have run it with the imposter commit. Now, this is important even if you are not using Harden-Runner, you will still get this imposter commit detection. So you still know which workflow runs were compromised, but this would only work if the action was used. If the binary was used, then this imposter commit does not apply. Then you have to rely on the Harden-Runner outbound network call to detect it. The other detections that would show are the runner worker memory read. So again, if you go from the threat center page, you will see that which ones have called this runner worker memory read. Um, and again, you can from here figure out what are the workflow runs that are impacted. So we have covered a bunch of these things. Now, again, the next step is once you know the workflow runs, you know the workflows, you know the secrets that are referenced in those workflows. Those are the secrets that you have to rotate. We also have a feature where you can review all your different GitHub Action secrets in one place, and that can help you with just understanding of where all are you using what all secrets, and that is under this action secrets. So you can, look into that as well. The final thing I want to mention is that we have evidence that more Trivy repositories are getting compromised. And the way they are getting compromised is because once the attacker has one GitHub token, like a personal access token or a bot token, they can create a new workflow in that repository and they can exfiltrate secrets from that repository. And we have evidence that this is happening with Trivy. So we have a feature to block that. So it's called this secret exfiltration workflow run policy, and we recommend you enable that at least for a few days. Because what this does is if anybody adds a workflow which is not in the default branch, and which is accessing secrets, then we assume it has not been reviewed, and again it's going to block that workflow unless at least one other person approves it. So this feature exists for this exact same scenario because once credentials start getting compromised, attackers will create new workflows in these repositories to try and exfiltrate additional secrets. And this secret exfiltration workflow run policy is meant to block that. Basically, if any developer creates a new workflow which is accessing secrets, it's going to block it from running, similar to how we saw with the compromised actions policy. So I think that is pretty much all in terms of the recovery steps. And